So back to business with what I want to tell you. Thanks for the warm introduction. My name is Rolf Illenberger. I'm founder and CEO of Viond. We are not exhibiting here, so if you got questions regarding my presentation, just approach me after the presentation. I will still be around for a little bit. So what this is all about, what we experience in our work with enterprises and corporates is, and probably some of you in the audience are familiar with this situation, is companies do want to get started with VR. They do have ideas on what they can do, but most of the times they end up with the situation that there's only the option to have a one-off project done by an agency, and we're talking about 50, 80, 100,000 euro for a pilot project. And so a lot of good VR projects actually don't ever see the birth of life because the initial obstacle to get started is so high. So we figured we need to find a solution for that, and I'm going to show you how. First of all, and taking maybe a step back, is why should companies and enterprises even get started with VR? So what we experience a lot when talking to companies is the basic question about what is the rationale to get started with VR in the first place. So 3 arguments that we realized over time are like the key arguments for enterprises to get in VR. First, and that's probably the most important one, at least from my perspective, while the last one is probably the most important one from the enterprise perspective, but VR offers a real immersion. So things you experience in VR will not only be something that you have seen or have read or have watched, but it will be something that you actually experience. So it stays in your brain as kind of a memory. So this is very important when it comes to training or when it comes to educating your employees and telling them how they should do and how they should actually work with the machine or with the process. The second argument is VR is perfect for location and time independent usage. So a lot of enterprises have plants somewhere, have situations that are cannot be replicated easily. So in VR, you can just do this without any restriction. And then third, that's probably the most important from an enterprise perspective, there's also cost-saving potential in VR. So you not only save time and travel when it comes to training, for instance, but you also save downtime, you avoid downtime, you avoid risk, and you're going to see in our case studies later how our clients are actually doing this. So what are our clients using our platform for? And I brought you like 4 generic and standard use cases that we see a lot at enterprises. Something we call virtual manuals. I don't want to call it virtual training because training is a little bit with a different ambition. So virtual manuals is really like teaching how does a machine work, how does a process work, how does an employee have to react, and even dealing with customers or dealing with the process. Then obviously there's VR training. That is, you have a clear ambition, a clear goal, what you want to teach to your employee. We have virtualization of real estate. That's something that's growing a lot. So companies are building up big libraries of virtual twins of their real estates in order to plan maintenance, in order to plan employees, to plan sales. And then there's sales support. So telling your sales reps or even the clients what they can do with your products. So one thing, I don't know if you've seen that, but that is kind of, to me, the ultimate proof of concept. It's a news from last week that Walmart announced they now gonna acquire 17,000 Oculus Go. So it's in fact 17,000 Oculus Go to have the whole employee training be virtualized, or big parts of the employee training be virtualized by using the Oculus Go. So this is an enormous story, I think, for the whole industry. So what we offer is a platform that enterprises can integrate fully into their internal workflows. So they don't need to have any external support, any external agency, and also don't have to bear the costs that comes with external agencies. We offer a scalable CMS platform, so the apps and the experiences are not hosted or stored on the devices themselves, but on a CMS, and are only distributed to the devices in the situation where the user wants to consume this content. So we can handle very big VR libraries and can actually distribute them to any user around the world who is like using an Oculus Go, but even on an iPhone or an Android phone. The workflow is super simple, and that's something that our clients love because that's what they do themselves. So 360 content production, you've seen, I think, on the floor one up from us. There's a lot of 360 camera manufacturers. So you know, cameras in this space start from 200-300 euros up to 2,000-3,000 euros. So there's no really an investment here. You can do this yourself. Then the 360 content is taken and added with interactivity, added multimedia with our tool, our Viond VR created tool. You can try this on viond.io. It's free to download. And then our clients take care of the distribution themselves. So we provide them with an app, a private app or public app, where they can distribute their VR experiences to, so they host kind of their own libraries. And here's two examples of our clients, what they're doing with that. So E.ON has started using our platform because of a simple reason. They work a lot with high, how do you say in English, Hochspannung, high voltage things. So the trainees at E.ON cannot really train in the actual situation, or training in the actual situation is very expensive because E.ON has to shut down some of the parts of the operations to let the people train there without risk. So we came up with a VR-based training program that simulates a lot of these high voltage situations. So trainees are now taking a lot of courses in VR before they actually start working with the actual high voltage situations. And now it's kind of progressed. So E.ON is now using it also to virtualize entire plants. So if you're an employee at E.ON and you are in the situation that for the first time you'll be sent to a water plant somewhere, you can take a virtual tour there, and it's not only a virtual tour, but it's like a virtual manual, so you get really an explanation of how this works. Another client of ours is a car manufacturer, a German car manufacturer. They're using our platform as kind of a VR intranet. That's also why the title of this presentation is called VR Intranet. So they are in a situation that not all employees have access to computers to access the traditional intranet, I would say. But all of the employees have a company phone. So we have our VR app installed on all of the employee phones. And actually the platform has the largest technical reach within the car manufacturer. So they use it now for onboarding, they use it for training purposes, and even use it to communicate strategy presentations. So coming back to the my initial slide on how to get started, you still have the situation, you want to get started, you have lots of ideas of what you can do with VR, but you don't want to spend too much money on this, especially if it's a test phase or a pilot phase. So we can offer something as a pilot phase that's below 20,000 euros, even including the hardware. So talking about cameras and talking about Oculus Go as the hardware setup here. So thanks for the attention. If you're interested, get in touch. And also, I'm happy to take a few questions if we still have